This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Something unexpected happened after Jeremy Scott confessed to killing Michelle Schofield in Bone Valley Season 1.
Every time I hear about my dad, it's, oh, he's a killer. He's just straight evil.
I was becoming the bridge between Jeremy Scott and the son he'd never known.
At the end of the day, I'm literally a son of a killer.
Listen to new episodes of Bone Valley Season 2 starting April 9th on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
And boom!
Common man, no show prep, no solid plan. Spins a yarn, recants a tale. Yes, a Derek approach won't fail. Tune in, it's time for Common Man. Common man, charms the housewives like no one can. What you shoot, word we play. Non-stop nonsense on deck today. Tune in, it's time for Common Man.
Oh, boy. Why should anybody aspire to be a common man, an average man? Do you realize what it means to be average? That means you're the best of the lousiest, and the lousiest of the best. Now, if we demand more and more for producing less and less, while the have-not nations encourage and inspire and indeed require hard work and maximum effort, if we deify the common men while they encourage and reward the uncommon ones, well, the end result of such a lopsided race as that is too obvious to require elaboration.
I mean, it's like, hello?
Only able to regroup, then it's poked away by Burke, who takes over. Pushes it up ahead to McGregor. Holy Cross coming down with a 3-on-2. McGregor from the right side, centering feet. And oh my God! Yeah! Oh, score! McGregor! Yes! Yes! Off of a rebound, puts it past Cowboys, and Holy Cross has knocked off the Minnesota Golden Gophers! Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Yes! Oh my goodness! We're not going home yet, baby! Just 53 seconds into overtime! And the Holy Cross Crusaders are mobbing Tyler McGregor and Tony Quesada! It's the second chance! It's the second effort! And it goes in! Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Yes, I do! Holy Cross has shocked the world right now!
Okay, calm down. Genius that I am.
Yeah,
Well, there's that.
Rocky?
You calling me a coward? Young man, I've done things that would make the hair on the back of your neck stand up.
He's the clown from Brown. He's the fourth in the North. This is the Common Man, Dan Cole.
Greetings, good afternoon, and ack-ack-a-dack, and dack-dack-a-ack to you and yours. I'm the Common Man, Dan Cole. He is Tenneby, and this is the worst all-sports radio station in the country. So says a former employee who, funny, was fired from here. I'm a radio dinosaur. This is my La Brea tar pit. Someday archaeologists and paleontologists will sift through the rubble that will be 1600 Utica Avenue South. They'll stumble across my skeletal remains and see my cold, dead, rigor mortis-laden lips attached to this Electrolux LE27 microphone, and they'll say, egad, an archaic communication device being operated by a social commentator. Tenneby, are you familiar with the transfer portal?
I've wondered if there was a radio version of it.
That was just going to that bit.
Sorry.
It's okay. I probably should have told you I was going to do the bit ahead of time. Because I was going to say...
I didn't even know you were going there. I just tried to come up with a one-liner.
Of course, that's where I was going to go. Because I don't really care about the transfer portal. I don't care who transfers anywhere in college basketball. So just let's do it again.
Sure.
Hit the rewind, which I got it. Tenneby, are you familiar with the transfer portal?
Yeah. Relatively new in college athletics over the last, 5-6 years?
5-6 years, and you're allowed to transfer if you don't like where you're at, if someone will go. There are literally hundreds of NCAA basketball players in the transfer portal, including our guy, Jiggy Trey Holloman. He's leaving Michigan State.
Really?
I don't know if they'll miss him that much because he went 0 for 10 in the grade 8 game and was 0 for 5 from three-point range, and they lost by 6, I think. So, but he's leaving, and there are literally hundreds of players leaving. I bet you'd like a radio transfer portal, wouldn't you? You would, though, wouldn't you?
Oh, that would be great.
Would you enter it? If they said today that we are now establishing in the radio industry at iHeartRadio, because you obviously would have to stay with iHeart, I think, do transfer portal. There's probably, we have over 800 radio stations in our family, and I would bet Sports Talk. How many do you think are Sports Talk? 30, 40, probably. Sure. Let's just say, for argument's sake, it's 50. You throw your name in the transfer portal. How do you know you don't get an offer from Phoenix?
Right? That sounds nice.
Play golf all the time, year round. Of course, if you get one from Moline, you're probably not going to be as excited. The Quad Cities of... Let's see if you know your geography.
Yeah.
Do you know which 4 cities constitute the Quad Cities?
You've brought this up to me before.
Oh, I have?
And I don't.
That's unlike me to repeat things.
I know it's in Iowa.
Well, one of them is.
Iowa and Illinois?
Yeah, I think it's...
Is Dubuque one of them?
I don't think so. I'm gonna take a guess. I want you to look it up. Let's just pretend this is like on Jeopardy, and I can win the whole thing. I'm going to go with Moline, Davenport.
Didn't Dolly Parton write a song about that city?
She did. It was called Moline.
Yeah.
Moline, Davenport, Schenectady. No, that's in New York. Shoot. Cedar Rapids, or is it Cedar Falls? That's as far as I can go. What are the Quad Cities?
Well, one, you know how the Big Ten is called the Big Ten because there was originally 10 teams in the conference?
Yes.
And now it's like the Big 18 or whatever it is?
18, yes.
We've been thrown off by the Quad Cities. It's more than 4. It's 5. It's Davenport and Bettendorf.
Okay.
In southeastern Iowa, and then Rock Island, Moline, and East Moline in northwestern Illinois. There's 5. That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, and I didn't know there was East and West Moline. That didn't even make any sense. I don't even care about the Quad Cities anymore. Now, I thought it was 4 distinct cities that were all different. You don't want to work there anyways, right?
Well.
How about if there was a sports station in Janesville, Wisconsin? How about Butte, Montana?
That might not be too bad.
Would you like to see? I like it out west. Young man, haven't you been told California is full of whiskey, women, and gold? I mean, head west, young man. I wonder what kind of offers you'd get, though. I mean, what is your reputation in the radio business? That's what I don't know.
Well, that's the thing with the transfer portal is we only ever really hear of like the big names jumping in the transfer portal.
Right, correct.
There's a lot of players, and then we're going to see it in hockey coming up here, that jump in the transfer portal, and then they don't get an offer anywhere. So they were just a Division I player, went to the transfer portal, now you got to go down and play, go play at Gustavus.
Couldn't you go back to Motzko and say, Bob, I was really starting to think about it. I really don't want to leave.
I don't mind this fourth line thing.
I really like it here in Minnesota. It has nothing to do with I've got no offers. I just really like it. I made a mistake. Do you think Bob takes him back? Or once you're out, you're out?
I'm sure it's happened before where someone jumps in the transfer portal and goes back to where he was.
Yeah.
But I would think that would probably anger a lot of coaches.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you don't like it here, huh?
Well, I think a lot of them think it's going to be, the grass is going to be greener on the other side. And nil money might have something to do with
it. For the
big
names.
Like, for instance, talking about Trey Holloman. He was considered one of, he's from Cretin-Durham Hall. I've talked about him before. My boy played against him back in the day. And he was considered, he never started. He's a sixth man, but he would come in within the first 5-6 minutes of the game, and he rarely left the floor. He'd go out for a breather, but come back in. He played a lot, okay? So he's considered a good player. So is it where he's not getting a lot of nil money at Michigan State? I don't know if he's getting any at all. Who knows? Is all of this public? Like, if you wanted to find out how much money Minnesota Gopher basketball players are making, if any, I'm sure. Who was our best player? Garcia?
Yep.
My guess is he was making nil money, probably, right?
Oh, sure.
I'm sure he's making some. How much that is, I don't know. In Minnesota, is $100,000 a lot? Is he making $1.1 million? I don't know what it is. Aren't they right now planning to set some number to it, like $20.5 million, I think, is a number that's, I think I saw somewhere where they have to have some rules and regulations. I don't think it's just the Wild West where we'll give you $10 million to play here. I think there are some, there's like almost a salary cap, I think, unless I've got it all wrong. I haven't been paying as close attention to the transfer portal and nil as I once did. But like, let's say a guy, let's just say that Holloman knows he can make $250,000 or $1 million or something somewhere else. He's not leaving because he doesn't like it there. He's not leaving because he doesn't enjoy his teammates. It's like, I can make money. So yeah. I don't know. And then, like you say, if you don't get an offer,
well, he could make more money and probably have a little bit more of a role, right?
And that could be too.
It's a little easier to start at Minnesota than it is Michigan State.
Exactly. Maybe he'd come back to Minnesota. He's from here, and I already saw that. Ladies and gentlemen,
we got him.
Who was the kid from one of the CSU guys that played under Medved is coming here? What, a sophomore? Was he 6'6" or 6'8"? It didn't look like he was
sort of like 9 points a game.
Yeah, he wasn't, Cooper Flagg or anything, but apparently he's a heck of a player. And I suppose there's a possibility that a couple other guys might come with him too. So then I also saw that he landed another commitment from somebody. So maybe it's getting off to a nice start over there at what we now call Williams Arena. But the name might be changing, Tennessee. More on that. Oh, my gosh. Not on the other side of the break right away, because we have to do Peek at the Purple, which there really isn't anything to talk about the Purple. Unless we want to talk about Aaron Rodgers again. And I think that's, what do the kids say? That's on the back burner right now. I don't think we're going to know anything more about Rodgers for a while, unless he signed with Pittsburgh today. Maybe he did. But we'll take a break. We'll come back, Peek at the Purple. We'll talk a little this, a little that.
Oh, we do have NFL offseason workout program dates announced. Oh. So if you want to know when the OTAs are.
Let's do that. That's what we'll do. That will be what we'll do for Peek at the Purple. That's next. Common Man program on the Fan.
Something unexpected happened after Jeremy Scott confessed to killing Michelle Schofield in Bone Valley Season 1.
I just knew him as a kid.
Long, silent voices from his past came forward.
And he was just staring at me.
And they had secrets of their own to share.
Gilbert King. I'm the son of Jeremy Lynn Scott.
I was no longer just telling the story. I was part of it.
Every time I hear about my dad, he's a killer. He's just straight evil.
I was becoming the bridge between a killer and the son he'd never known.
If the cops and everything would have done their job properly, my dad would have been in jail. I would have never existed.
I never expected to find myself in this place. Now, I need to tell you how I got here.
At the end of the day, I'm literally a son of a killer.
Bone Valley, Season 2. Jeremy.
Jeremy, I want to tell you something.
Listen to new episodes of Bone Valley Season 2 starting April 9th on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. And to hear the entire new season ad-free with exclusive content starting April 9th, subscribe to Lava for Good Plus on Apple Podcasts.
Down to Tom's Watch Bar in Minneapolis tonight at 6:30 and join the Power Trips Meat Sauce for a KFAN Wolves watch party. We'll have Timberwolves versus Nets live on the big screens, delicious food and drinks, and your chance to secure exclusive KFAN swag and to qualify for Wolves season finale tickets. Get all the details now at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
That sounds like a heck of a concert. I might want to show up with some friends.
We never run from criticism on this show, particularly if it's directed towards the interim producer. I just love it. Here's one. You're getting ripped right out of the gate. Here's what it says. Minnesota Golden Gopher women's basketball team wins a national championship, and Blandon can't find the time to put 5 minutes into a montage. Sad, really, is what he says. Do you have an explanation? Anything you'd like to say about it? I mean, it's again, I'm just reading what I see.
Two things, and maybe Gerds, you could help me out. I don't even know where to get highlights for that. I don't know if we have them anywhere.
That's a very good point.
Two, it's an NIT tournament. It's just an NIT tournament, but it's going to be a great stepping stone for next year. We're going to be coming Sweet 16 next year.
We're going to get all sorts of gals that want to come here, the transfer portal. We're going to have a lot of nil money. We're going to be the greatest team. Caitlin Clark's going to want to... No, she's not in college basketball anymore. She left. She's in the pros. You know what's weird? Do you think this is crazy? When I see the color yellow, I think of Caitlin Clark in the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Yes.
I look at the color yellow in a completely different way than I ever did. It's just weird.
Just every time I see the sun.
Yes, same thing. I think of Caitlin Clark is what I think of. Here's another text message that came in. Nil money is wide open, no rules. The NCAA is paying out $20 million per Division I school.
Yes.
The $20 million is divided how the university wishes. So that's where that 20, it's not a salary cap.
No.
That's what I was thinking.
You can put as much money as you want.
Well, there's that. So we need people to pony up. I guess really what I would interpret by you not putting a montage together is you don't like parades. Do you think we'll have a parade or not? Real small one. It'll just circle Williams Arena and that'll be it. I don't think we have to shut down downtown Minneapolis for it, do we? Maybe Dinkytown might work. I don't know. But they did win. Peek at the Purple, by the way, is brought to you by Affordable Electric, your old home specialist. They're familiar with old wiring like knob and tube, cloth-covered wiring, aluminum in older fuse boxes. They understand the limitations and potential safety concerns. So invite them over to your place. Give them a call or reach out to them at affordable-electric.com and have them come over and give your house, get a whole house inspection to find out if you if there are any, they can identify some potential hazards and then recommend necessary upgrades or replacements. Affordable-electric.com. Affordable Electric is shockingly affordable. Tanner, what you got for Oda's? Did you say times and places?
Oh, yeah. The NFL just basically released all of their off-season dates for each franchise.
Okay.
So for your Minnesota Vikings, the first day will be April 21st.
Really? That soon? I did not realize it would be in April.
It just says first day, so I don't know what that means in terms of, is that a mini camp rookie? Probably it's rookies will be, well, no, we won't have rookies by then.
Yeah. This is why Rodgers didn't sign. Do you think Rodgers will report on April 21st to Minneapolis? You out of your mind? He's in some kind of a darkness retreat right now.
So OTA off-season workouts, May 27th through the 28th, May 30th, June 2nd through 3rd, June 5th, and June 16th through the 18th. And then our mandatory minicamp will be June 10th through June 12th.
Minicamp is when?
June 10th through June 12th.
Can you imagine if you're Aaron Rodgers? You got to be kidding me. June 10th.
He'll sign after June 12th.
That's exactly right. He'll sign the next day. He'll sign on the 13th. I got some breaking news, by the way, tonight. I'm told after the University of Minnesota women's basketball team won the championship, there was a celebration in Dinkytown, including widespread looting. The dress barn. Am I going to get in trouble for that one? I used to use that one all the time, and that's so sexist now. They looted the dress barn. You know the worst thing about shopping at Victoria's Secret is?
What's that?
They won't let you try anything on. We thank Affordable Electric for sponsoring Peek at the Purple. How about this, Tennessee? on-air host and producer job. Carroll Broadcasting in Carroll, Iowa.
Really?
Radio show producer and host assistant.
Doing both?
It was posted 6 days ago. No degree mentioned. There is health insurance, paid time off, and you get dental insurance as well.
Nice. Where's Carroll, Iowa?
Somewhere in Iowa.
Well, I got that part down.
On hair, you don't have any hair. On air host and producer job at All Classical Union New. See, you can't work a classical station because you got to go. Beethoven's Ninth that was conducted by, and then they've got these European names of these conductors that it's almost like trying to say, what's Kaprizov's first name again?
Kirill.
Conducted by Kirill Kaprizov. You wouldn't want that job, would you? Because you got to kind of talk like that, too, when you're doing classical music.
Looks like Carroll, Iowa is like just west of Des Moines. Looks like it's about halfway between Des Moines and Omaha.
This job in Union, New Jersey for the All Classical on-air host and producer, the company is Media Bistro. I think that's a smaller radio company. My guess is that's a standalone. And an iHeart or Odyssey or any of those. KCBS Radio full-time afternoon news.
Ooh.
Why don't you give it a try? You're like, I'm 10 and B with the top headlines of the day.
For KCBS, I'm 10 and B. I can't do 10 and B. I'm Brandon Molesky for today's headlines. Yesterday was Liberation Day for the Trump administration. Tariffs announced for basically every country in the world.
You could do the news thing. I started out as a news guy. I loved it. I just loved the news beat, man. You do the morning news. You do a newscast like, twice an hour, and then 9 o'clock rolls around. You're off on the newscasts, and you got to prepare for the 12 noon newscast, a long one. But first you go out to the police station, watch it. Hey, Chief O'Hara, how's it going? Yeah, anything happened last night? Nothing real interesting. Here's the book. And then you look at the arrest records. Yeah. And you go, ooh.
Looting at the dress barn.
Yeah, looting at the dress barn. What happened there? So then you do a looting, and then you go, I better go over and talk to somebody at the dress barn. Then you hop in your news car and you drive on over to the dress barn, and you see the remnants and the broken glass and everything, and then you go up and find the owner. Hey, Brandon Molesky from KCBS.
And it's the easiest form of broadcasting because you're just reading, right? Like,
exactly.
Imagine like reading a teleprompter for like 40 years. I mean, how easy would that be?
You try it sometimes, then you'll find out how difficult it really is. Capital editor, producer job in community radio. This sounds like you'd be covering what happens at the Capitol.
At the Capitol? Well, there's news there every day.
Wait. This is in Sheridan, Wyoming. The state capital's not in Sheridan. Isn't it? Can you name the state capital of Wyoming? It's either Cheyenne or Laramie. It's one of the two.
Wyoming. I was thinking Washington there for
Wyoming.
a second.
It's either Cheyenne or Laramie.
It's not Laramie.
Then it's Cheyenne.
It's got to be Cheyenne.
It has to be, because it can't be Casper either. I don't think it's Casper, Wyoming, which I think might be one of the biggest towns. Maybe it is Casper. Sheridan, did I tell you that my mind...
It is Cheyenne.
My mind goes in I wonder why she's so shy. Maybe she goes, okay. I told you I had nothing.
That's a new line. I've never heard that. I was actually amused by that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I told you I had nothing today.
It's not what we're supposed to tell our listeners.
Right. Sheridan, Wyoming. Did I tell you this, that I'll find myself on a lazy Saturday afternoon, my mind starts to wander where I would like to settle down. I want to give up the booze and the one night stands, find a little town, quiet little town, and settle down and forget about everything. I once looked up Sheridan, Wyoming, because it was saying top 10 towns to retire in Wyoming. A story popped up, and I saw Sheridan. So I hit Sheridan, and I Googled golf courses in Sheridan, Wyoming, and it's got a spectacular private club in Sheridan. I could live in Sheridan. You could be the Capitol reporter in Sheridan. It's got a spectacular golf course. It's really good. And you know what? I mean, in Sheridan, a private course, it's not like it's like You know, like when Rosen had to put $15,000 down or something over there. It's just like they want like $6,000 down and $300 a month. Okay, I can do that to belong to a private club. A lot of, associate producer, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Oh, that sounds good.
Sirius XM in New York, New York. Now that, working for Mike and the Mad Dog on Sports Radio 1130, The Fan. You'd be working for...
You might make a little bit more there than Carroll, Iowa.
The guy producing the Mike and the Mad Dog show is making more money than I'm making as a host here in Minneapolis. I can guarantee you that.
I should apply for that.
Yeah. It says it's part-time, though. Which is
still probably making more.
Yeah. And that's really no different than my job. I'm working part-time as well. We'll break. We'll come back. We got a little distat lat to get to on the Common Man program on The Fan.
Something unexpected happened after Jeremy Scott confessed to killing Michelle Schofield in Bone Valley Season 1.
I just knew him as a kid.
Long, silent voices from his past came forward.
And he was just staring at me.
And they had secrets of their own to share.
Gilbert King. I'm the son of Jeremy Lynn Scott.
I was no longer just telling the story. I was part of it.
Every time I hear about my dad, it's, oh, he's a killer. He's just straight evil.
I was becoming the bridge between a killer and the son he'd never known.
If the cops and everything would have done their job properly, my dad would have been in jail. I would have never existed.
I never expected to find myself in this place. Now, I need to tell you how I got here.
At the end of the day, I'm literally a son of a killer.
Bone Valley, Season 2. Jeremy.
Jeremy, I want to tell you something.
Listen to new episodes of Bone Valley Season 2 starting April 9th on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. And to hear the entire new season ad-free with exclusive content starting April 9th, subscribe to Lava for Good Plus on Apple Podcasts.
Hit the court in parlay for KFAN's Timberwolves watch party was host Zach Halverson, the Power Trim Morning Show. Catch the Timberwolves on the big screens as they face off against Brooklyn on April 11th at 8 p.m. Party with free food, prizes, and more. Get all the details now at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Gallatin River. What a great place to live. Couple 13, 14 pass, Common Man program. Found another job, Tennessee. This might be right up your alley.
Okay.
Traffic reporter, producer at MNITTWN Media Networks in New York. Current employees and contingent workers click to apply and search by the job posting title. The audio revolution is here, and iHeart is leading it. iHeart Media, the number one audio company in America, reaches 90% of Americans every month. We are looking for you. So, traffic reporter, why don't you be Dylan Molesky? And I'll throw it to you, okay? You ready?
Sure.
Okay. Let's see what... It seems like they're beeping and creeping out there in the metro today. Let's go to Dylan Molesky in Traffic Chopper 12. That's the helicopter. You're supposed to give the
Well,
report.
I was very confused. I thought you wanted to report about the band Traffic. I didn't know what songs they've come up with recently, so you just threw me off there for a little.
Let's go to Traffic Chopper 12 and see what the roads are like out there right now.
As always, it's packed up on 394 as you're approaching 394 East and 94 East. It looks like there's a bunch of cars. A car in the middle lane currently trying to navigate its way, performing the quick slip in. Oh, with perfection. Great move by that slip, but it's packed as always.
See, you could do it. Traffic reporter's job's pretty good.
Up in the do I have to go in the helicopter?
Well, that's what you were reporting. Would you do that? Would you be a helicopter guy? Could you do that?
Do we have anyone in town that actually does the helicopter traffic?
I don't think they do it here. They have all sorts of traffic producer jobs. There's one in Culver City. There's one in Chicago, Illinois. Another one in Birmingham, Alabama. Radio producer at EWTN Global Catholic Network. That'd probably be for PA. Is he Catholic?
I believe so.
Yeah, that'd be perfect for him. He could work for the Catholic Radio Network. It would work perfect for him. He'd fit in very well there. Man, traffic producer, part-time, Rutherford, New Jersey. Creative services intern at Sinclair Broadcasting. That's not up your alley at all.
Not creative enough?
No, I don't think so. Producer job at WBAL TV in Baltimore. Maybe Rosen would be available for that. So many opportunities out there, Tenby. You're not...
Where are you getting all these job postings?
Radio producer job openings across the United States. There are 55 of them across the country right now. Places where you could... radio producer temporary job at Falmouth, Massachusetts. Via a lot of these say you can work from anywhere.
Ooh.
They're producer jobs or call screener jobs that you can work from anywhere.
I can work from home?
You can work from home.
Well, then that sounds great.
So you just log in. Yeah, you just log in. It's pretty cool. So we'll keep an eye out for you, Tenby, to see if you're able to.
Sounds like you're trying to push me out.
No, I'm just trying to help you out.
You really like that week and a half of Max, don't you?
Actually, I was trying to get. What I'm disappointed in is Kara's not doing actually interning anymore. I think she actually works here part-time, and she never gets... She
was just running the board before I came on today.
She never... And I asked her, well, last week, Tenby was gone for 8 days, and you didn't work one day. She goes, I know. I said, why not? She said, they asked me to do Thursday, but Thursday's the one day I have to have a class after 12 noon. So she couldn't come in. So I get saddled with Max, Blakemore, and Helvey. She could have come in and done it any time.
Yeah.
And I don't know if she just said this because, I was standing right there, but she said she would rather work my show than any of the others. Maybe I shouldn't even say that publicly. Maybe it would upset some of the others, but she would like to work our show. She likes working with you and I. So I would like to...
The feeling is mutual.
Yeah, I think the exact same thing. I'd like to have her back here. Your Wild Club... I shouldn't admit this working at the All Sports station, but I just skimmed. I saw the headline and skimmed the story. Looked like Russell Westbrook was playing for our club last night. We had a couple of
gaffes,
a couple of costly turnovers. What exactly happened in the game last night? Because it looked like we were in it. It was a battle.
There's a couple gaffes both ways.
Okay.
The Rangers, there's a reason the Rangers are in a similar boat to the Wild, where the Rangers are right now. They're tied for the final spot in the East, but Montreal currently holds that second wildcard spot because they have a game in hand on New York. But that was a must-win for the Rangers last night. They had some mental lapses. The Wild, the two you're talking about, the one, Declan Chisholm, who just got back into the lineup, and he might just be exiting the lineup for tomorrow after the play he made last night. One of his defensive partner was in the corner. Speaking of traffic, there's a lot of traffic in that corner, so they immediately just threw it right out to Chisholm out in front because he was kind of the one open guy. And it was just like he kind of panicked with the puck and tried to take it behind the net and ended up losing it. And it was literally just given to Chris Kreider on a silver platter right in front of the net. Gustafsson couldn't do a whole lot about it. So we just gave away one there. You had another goal against in which Rossi in the offensive zone was skating the puck up high near the blue line. He did probably get slashed, which caused him to lose the puck, but then after he lost the puck, he fell down, so that gave a breakaway to the one guy in their team you don't want to give a breakaway to, and that would be Panarin, and he buried it. So a couple mental lapses for the Wild, but I will say for a team that's been struggling mightily offensively for the longest time, and maybe this has more to do with the Rangers' lack of defense, they battled back and scored some goals last night. So that was good. Marcus Johansson had a 3-point night. When they were down 4-3 and going into the third period, Rossi scores immediately off of a play where Boldy had a shot that deflected off the crossbar and was laying there right for Rossi. So offensively, they did some good things. Their penalty kill, which for the longest time was giving this team issues this year. I actually think the last couple of weeks, their penalty kills have been as good as we've seen in a long time. And the PK came up huge last night because they had 3 bad penalties in the last 10 minutes of that game, with Foligno and Hartman having really bad penalties. And PK came up huge last night to at least force them to get to overtime and get a point. So there were some good things that happened last night. But yeah, some defensive lapses. Even on the overtime goal, I don't know what happened to Rossi. He just kind of overskated the play. All of a sudden, the Rangers have like a small little 3-on-2. And Gustafson's been really good, but he gave up a bad one there. I think he was anticipating pass and ended up being a shot that wasn't even a strong shot and went right under his pads. But, they did get some help last night.
Are we tied with St. Louis or 2 up on them? Where are we?
Well, you know what? People are focused on St. Louis is not who we should be focusing on. I know because St. Louis was so far behind us at one point, and they've been catching us.
Okay.
But St. Louis is not the team we're worried about in terms of making the playoffs. The Blues are going to make the playoffs. But right now, both teams are tied at 89 points. Wild technically have the top wild card spot just based off of the tiebreaker, which is regulation wins. But Vancouver lost last night, which was huge for the Wild. So the Wild are now 7 points up on Calgary. Calgary does have 2 games in hand, but Calgary lost to Utah the night before. And then Vancouver lost last night, so the Wild are up 8 points now on Vancouver. So last night was a good night for the Wild, the last 2 nights. Even though they've lost 2 games, 2 games and didn't get the 2 points in either, they've gained points on the teams that were chasing them. So 6 games to go, and you're up 8 points on Vancouver. They're not going to catch you. 7 points up on Calgary. They do have 2 games in hand, but the Wild just have to avoid going 1-5 here over the last 6. And even if they do go 1-5, they still might make the playoffs. But the good news is it does sound like Kaprizov and Joel Eriksson-Ek are on the horizon. I saw a note in Russo's story today on The Athletic that he is expecting Kaprizov to be back for the San Jose game. Is that next Wednesday? So they got the Islanders tomorrow night. They got Dallas on Sunday. And then I believe they have San Jose in the middle of next week. And he kind of made it seem like Kaprizov might be ready for that. So you got some good news on the horizon for the Wild. They should be in decent shape here, at least to make a playoff spot.
Do you
But the Blues have won 10 in a row, but whether you beat the Blues or not in the standings, it's just the difference between playing Winnipeg and Vegas. Like there's not really a huge advantage either way on finishing ahead of them.
If we make the playoffs, I know you can't predict exactly what our final record would be and what the other teams will be because they have to play. But is that it would look like we would play would be either, who did you say?
It would be
Winnipeg or...
It would be Winnipeg or Vegas. So
okay.
The Wild are not catching Colorado or Dallas in your division. So the Wild, if they make it, are going to be one of the 2 wild cards.
Okay.
This is what I hate about the NHL because this is like hard to explain to casual sports fans on how the playoff
I'll take notes.
Bracket is set up.
I'll try to listen closely.
In the Western Conference, there's 2 divisions. You have the Central Division and the Pacific Division. The top 3 teams in each division make the playoffs and are on separate sides of the bracket. Then you have 2 wild card teams that get placed in one of those 2 brackets based off of their points.
Okay.
So the higher of the 2 wild card teams would face the division winner that is second in the standings. Okay. And then the lower of the wild card would face the division winner that's higher. So right now, Winnipeg has 106 points. Vegas has 98 points. Those are your 2 division leaders. If the Wild were to get the top wild card spot, you would then play Vegas because they have less points between Winnipeg. If St. Louis jumps ahead of the Wild would take on the top team, which would be the Winnipeg Jets. But I just don't think there's much of a difference in terms of playing those 2 teams. So whether you get higher or lower than St. Louis at this point doesn't mean anything. It's just let's just make sure we get in the playoffs.
Right. And so you think the matchup against either one of those teams, one's not even slightly better? I mean, if you had to pick a team you think the Wild match up with, I guess a lot of it just depends if Kaprizov and Eriksson-Ek are going to play, right? And they look like they will.
I mean, Winnipeg's been the better team this year, but Vegas just has a little bit more equity when it comes to postseason success. Now, Winnipeg has kind of owned the Wild over the last couple of regular seasons. They play a very physical brand. We've had multiple guys hurt, including Kaprizov a couple of years ago against them. We have not done well against them, but they might be a team that hasn't had as much playoff success. So maybe there's something to that.
Can we
ultimately, like, Dallas is probably the team I wanted to play the least, and at least we're not going to be in a spot now to play Dallas.
Can we beat either one of those? Winnipeg or, again, who'd you say, Winnipeg or who?
Vegas.
Can we, I mean, I know we can, but I mean, realistically, do you think we could?
Couple things. It's hockey. Anything can happen in hockey. Hot goalie can happen in hockey. And our goaltending's been pretty good all season long. I don't like our chances against either of them, but I guess if you want to go the Ducky and Bunny route with the Wild, let's assume you get Kirill Kaprizov back and you get Joel Eriksson Ek back. And now let's assume forward that they're not only healthy, but have found their games by the time the playoffs come around. And I don't know what the % chance of that happening is. I don't think it's likely. This was a team in the regular season when they had all their pieces, was one of the best, other than Winnipeg. I mean, they were like second in the Western Conference for the longest time. So is there a way they can come? I still think they're just don't have enough offensively, even with Kaprizov and Eriksson Ek, to have success in playoff series, but their goaltending's been good, and defensively they're pretty good. So, can you find yourself in a series where you're winning 2-1, 3-2 games? I think it's possible.
Tenna, just admit it. We can't beat either Winnipeg or Vegas. Just shut her down. Wow, that's a little negative.
I don't like our chances, but it's hockey.
It is hockey. Tenna, job opportunity. Captain, well-seasoned. Sought for ship that's the pride of the American side. As big freighters go, it's bigger than most. We'll have a load of iron ore 20,000 tons more than she weighs empty. You've got experience.
I always love that one.
There's
I can handle the rocky waters with the best of them.
Nobody that's experienced it more often than you have. So, okay, well, again, it's I mean, you got to go back to 2003, right, for when the Wild had a run. Do I have the year right?
That's the only time they've been to a conference finals, yes.
And that one was a do you believe in miracles kind of thing, because weren't we underdogs in all those? In the last two series that we won, we were down 3-1 in both, right?
Well, and that team, it was their third year in existence, so it was a lot of like their expansion draft guys, that was just a team that was, Jacques Lemaire was a genius, I think, head coach, and got those guys all playing together and playing as a team and playing his system to perfection. You are right. They came back from 3-1 against the Colorado Avalanche team that had won the Stanley Cup, that has Hall of Famers and Peter Forsberg and Joe Sakic and Patrick Roy. And they came back and won that one Game 7 in overtime. And then Vancouver, they were down 3-1, and that team had a bunch of good players on it as well. And then they just ran out of gas. Actually, in the conference finals, their first game against Anaheim, they were the better team in that game. They outplayed the Ducks big time, but they got Jean-Sebastien Giguère and his big pads. They got out goaltended there.
Today is what makes the Grum the Grum. Approximately 2/3 of the first hour was spent trying to find a different job for the producer. Then, even when the focus turns to sports, Common brings up the Wild and lets Tenna talk, during which you can tell Common was searching for more jobs. A program unlike any other. How did he know that's what I was doing? Is it that obvious?
Pretty predictable.
I thought the jobs...
Basically, anytime you ask me about the Wild, that means you have nothing.
I thought the jobs bit was kind of a fun bit.
I thought it was too.
No, I'm kind of running out of it. The other thing I like is when you ask for what salaries they are, sometimes they're so far off the mark. The average producer's job is anywhere between $55,000 and $65,000.
Huh?
That's what I was thinking. Then it said that, well, if you're a sports talk show host in Minneapolis, the hostess make like about $22 an hour. And I'm thinking, I go steal milk money from little children at bus stops before I'd work for that guy. I mean, it pays a little bit more than that. Not a lot, but it's a bit more than $22 an hour. But, yeah, the jobs thing kind of went. The helicopter thing I thought was going to really go somewhere.
Sorry.
No, that's not your fault. It was just. Plus,
you made a good helicopter noise.
It does sound good.
That's pretty good.
Thought it was a pretty good bit. I thought that was going to the show was going to, pardon the pun, take off at that point, and then it just kind of
crashed.
It was just a crash landing, is what it was.
Yeah.
And your other winter sports team, your Minnesota Timberwolves. They play, people had told me that you look at the Wild schedule, and it's I think it was maybe it was right after the All-Star break or whatever it was when they were making this big deal about, the Wolves record the rest of the or schedule the rest of the way is like the second least difficult in the entire NBA. And I think we all said, okay, maybe if we can just decide now that we're at this point of the season, we're going to try really hard from beginning to end, maybe we can climb the playoff ladder, right? We can move up. I mean, we're playing teams. If we have the second least difficult schedule, and we are a pretty good club. I know we don't have the same roster makeup as we did last year, but the guy we got for Bodega Cat's the two guys we got for Bodega Cat are both pretty good players, and they've both been playing well as of late, especially Julius Randle. So you're thinking we're going to make some waves and move up on the playoff ladder, and we've done just the opposite. We've pretty much just been running in place for the most part, losing games we should have won. Other teams do it as well. I get that. But, we lost to Utah. We lost to an Indiana team that when their starters are in, I think they have a better record than the Wolves do, or similar record. But, they had 4 of their starters out of the game. We lose that game. We've lost a number of games that on paper you're supposed to win, and you lose one of those, but we're losing all of them, it seems like. But the schedule is benefiting them right now. They are.
Did you see where they're seated now?
Yeah, they had 6.
It's weird because the Clippers won last night to match the Wolves' record, but it actually helped the Wolves move up in the standings because it created a 3-way tie. So the tie, whatever the tiebreaker was for the 3-way tie, actually elevated the Wolves in a 6. So Wolves, Clippers, and Memphis all have the exact same record. Clippers right now are 7th. Memphis is 8th. They're all 44 and 32.
And then we play the Nets tonight.
We got Brooklyn tonight.
They're 25 and 50, I think, something like
25 and 51.
Okay. Then
I think we have them twice here.
Correct. Then it's the Wolves at the 76ers. They've already mailed it in.
They're 23 and 53.
Yeah, Embiid's out. That should be 2-0.
They've lost 9 in a row.
The Bucks, are they? I mean, they're a playoff club. I get that. I think they've underwhelmed a little bit this year. But are they battling for?
They are 6th in the East. I think. Okay. I think they were in a bit of a slump and just snapped out of their losing streak. Their last game they played in.
So it's at Milwaukee. So I'll say that one could be a toss-up. That let's just say for argument's sake, they find a way to lose that game.
Yeah.
So they go 2-1. The Grizz
that'll be the big one.
That'll be the big one.
That's
right?
The team you're fighting for seeding.
Yep. And that's at Memphis. Then we get
they've lost 4 in a row, and in the last 10 column, they are 2-8.
Okay. And then we get the Nets again here. And then we close out the season at home against the Jazz. So
we're 16 and 61.
Yeah.
So 4 of those 6 games should be slam dunk victories.
Yeah. And you would think, they should go 5-1 at worst if they try hard from the beginning to the end. That's been their issue. They've admitted it. They've said it themselves. The scout for Denver said it. He told Malone, I'm watching this Wolves club play, and they don't seem like they try hard all the time. And Malone admitted his team does it. That's why I said it's an epidemic. It's all across the league. Teams decide when they want to play and when they don't. I would hope we're at the point that they want to. So could be looking up for the Wolves, as you mentioned, right now in that 6th spot. We'll break. When we return, Tennessee's got 5-3-4 for us. What you got, Tenna?
What do you think of your division-leading Minnesota Twins now?
Something unexpected happened after Jeremy Scott confessed to killing Michelle Schofield in Bone Valley Season 1.
Every time I hear about my dad, it's, oh, he's a killer. He's just straight evil.
I was becoming the bridge between Jeremy Scott and the son he'd never known.
At the end of the day, I'm literally a son of a killer.
Listen to new episodes of Bone Valley Season 2 starting April 9th on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.